Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Saturday episode of Drink Up with myself and Sam and our guest today, Chris Slanga, dear friend of mine from Red Boot Beverage, who will let introduce himself in a second. I'm still getting my script under me. So, podcast brought to you by our sponsors, Bev Assets, Sam and Alicia Vargo, good friend Jay Williams and Freebird. Sam, are you drinking your obligatory Freebird this morning?
I am. Where's my free bird? No, I am not. Well, here you go. Here you go.
Perfect. Ryan Halliman and Rocks Advisors, and then myself and Alias Advising. So with that, Chris, as always, welcome. I know who you are. We had beers a few weeks ago that prompted what we're doing right now.
And I'm gonna pause because I don't know if we're going live. We might have to start over again. I apologize, guys. I don't see it streaming. Do you see it streaming, Adam?
Hang on. Yeah, we're live on LinkedIn.
Okay. Well, there you go. See,
Yeah,
this is how we roll. Chris, by the way, this is how we roll.
Live
yeah.
You don't
TV,
know
baby.
sometimes live TV. It's good. I want to make sure. So you definitely see us there because I guess I'm just not seeing it in my feed, which is weird.
No, dude, the same thing happened to me 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm seeing it. So I think we're good.
Yeah, I see it
So
now.
yeah, Chris, tell the folks at home who the hell you are.
Yeah. Minnesota resident. Worked with Adam in the beverage industry for a few years over at BevSource, but I've been around the business for about 16 years now, and most recently landed at Red Boot Beverage a year ago. A co-packer out of Des Moines, Iowa, and in the last year, it has been quite the journey. I started as a director of sales with them, and they've most recently moved me into vice president of revenue. So really exciting, a lot of growth. Excited to get into that a little bit, but also excited to just spend some time with you guys and talk shop a little bit.
Ditto, brother. Congratulations on the new role. You had hinted at it when we were having drinks, and so I'm glad you're able to finally announce it. Also, shout out to Stu if you hear this. Hope you're well. I know you're always keeping yourself tuned into what's going on. So tell us about just you to start. Obviously, we'll get into Red Boot, but I know you've done water, you've done all sorts of stuff. So tell us. You used to be a musician. Give us the Chris Slanga story.
Man,
Yeah, that was, I was thinking rock and roll when I was typing the name Slanga. I mean, come on.
it's a stage name. Yeah, I changed it years back. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, so I grew up in Minnesota here in a town called Coon Rapids. That's a suburb out of Minneapolis, rather large suburb. And yeah, sure enough, in my late teens, early 20s, I had dreams of being this little rock star guy, and played in a band for a while with some drums. And I was always a worker during those times, and went and this is 21 years ago. I worked for a beer distributor. So my first foray into beverage, I worked at a place called Grossline Beverage. So they were a Miller House before the Molson Coor group got involved. So I had a lot of fun. I loved what I did. It was super entry level. I was basically hanging mirrors and neon signs in bars and liquor stores, and making displays. And I remember interacting with the sales team, and I just thought, wow, these guys are really having a good time doing what they're doing. And I kind of became addicted to the industry at that point. So I was just this 21-year-old kid that didn't know anything about anything, and I fell in love with it. So did that for quite some time. Got into the wireless industry for a little bit. That was fun. The money was good at that time, so it was more of a money play. Got back into beverage with a Red Bull distributor locally, and went through a number of positions there. Started kind of at the bottom again, and worked my way through to being a training manager and a key account sales rep, and jumped ship there. Went to Premium Waters. So Premium Waters is one of the biggest bottled water companies you've maybe never heard about. They specialize in private label, so they are quietly massive. They've got 11 plants, 12 now around the country, and they crank out bottled water like crazy. If you've ever bought a store brand bottled water, there's a really good chance that it's that company. So really great experience there. They invested in me, and put me through a leadership development program, and made me an operations manager for one of their locations in central Minnesota here. So a lot of incredible professional development there. Did that for a while, and then I wound up at BevSource with you, Adam. So I spent 4 years there in a couple of different roles. I started as a client success manager. Just kind of high level account management for some of our largest operations customers. Again, incredible experience. I can't say too much about BevSource. It's just phenomenal. The relationships that you get to make all around the industry, whether it be a co-packer, flavor company, manufacturers, packaging manufacturers, you really get a lot of good relationships there, especially if you're customer facing in that world. So I did
Yeah.
that for a couple of years, joined their private label team as a director of business development, and did that for a couple of years again, put me back into that private label space that I was in at Premium, and really, really great experience there too. So found myself at Red Boot Beverage, and the rest is history. So it's been quite the journey.
Well, and you're I won't make you go too far down the rabbit hole, but I always find this fascinating because I mean, myself, Sam, I think most of our spouses work in other industries. Yours happens to work in a very similar industry.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you a little background on my lovely wife, and I'm going to say this loud enough so she can hear it. She's just in the other room, so hopefully I score some points here. But when we first started dating, we lived in Northeast Minneapolis. She was actually my neighbor across the street. That's how we met.
You
You
married
know,
your neighbor.
whenever, what was that, Sam?
You married your neighbor.
Yeah, it's a risky move, I know. To start talking to the neighbor girl, that could go off the rails pretty quickly. Thankfully for us, it didn't. Whenever we were going out, she was ordering beer. She loved beer. So yeah, she's been in the industry for a long time, service industry. So one day I saw a job opening at Indeed Brewery, which I can tell you about this little guy behind me here. That's a part of it as well. And she said, "Geez, like that sounds okay, but I've been working in food service, and do you think there's any money in it?" I said, "Yeah, there's a line out to the door all the time. Absolutely, there is." So she got in there. She's such a hard worker that she very quickly became the manager of their tap room, and then after that, the events manager, and then hospitality director over their Milwaukee location and the Minneapolis location. She's such a hard worker. She's an inspiration to me. It's phenomenal. So she did that for a number of years. I think she was there for 8 years. She is now with Enthuse and Spira. They're a marketing company that works on behalf of Diageo. So she is an on-premise marketing manager. So what she does is goes to set amount of bars. I think she's got over 60 in the metro area. Helps them create cocktail menus. She's turned herself into the cocktail queen of the Minneapolis and St. Paul area. She puts on events. She's got a really cool event coming up at Burger Dive where they're doing this Rumpelman's ice luge thing. She coordinates all that. Helps with signage and puts a lot out there on social media. So hopefully I said that loud enough for her to hear. But yeah, she's great. So we're definitely a beverage industry household. It's just the two of us, no kids, and a cat. So we're able to travel and enjoy the industry as much as we can.
Totally. No, I like I said, I always love catching up with you in general, but it's just always fascinates me because the rest of us, we get home at the end of the day and we're like, this thing happened, and our spouses are like, okay, right? And you get home and they're like, I know, like
Yeah.
that's old news. What are you
Mhm.
talking about? Like, okay. So Red Boot, I think you are. Think about this. We got to talk to Lou and the Circle team. There's a few other folks on the list, but I think you might be the first person directly from a co-packer that we've spoken to,
Really? That's
which is pretty
fantastic.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising, but it's also pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I
So,
think we
so for
did pick
those
your
who,
co-packer, but he
that's
actually
right,
has a list of all the co-packers, but he wasn't a co-packer.
that's right. We
By
did
the way,
talk
if
to
I
D.
can just come in, a couple of questions are coming in, so let's just do a shout out here real quick. So Robert Coggs is rolling fast. Alicia says morning. Robert says something about does Moines Buccaneers. I don't know who
Oh,
that
that's a
is.
typo. That's
You know what? I think so. I'm a Minnesota guy. Love Des Moines. It's a great place to visit. Great manufacturing facility. But you know what? I hate to say it. I'm a full blown Minnesotan.
There you go. Well, be careful there. And then Duncan, thanks for joining us as well. All the good-looking guys in beverage on one call.
Wow,
it's very kind.
very
That's
kind.
very kind.
Yeah, very kind. I think he's talking about you two because I'm the old guy.
I,
I decided not to hide my age, by the way. It was a coming out a few years ago.
well, I'll admit I did. I paid them to say that. I hired a few people to throw a few things in there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody that's listening, bring on some questions. We'd love to hear it. We like to roll. But anyway, sorry to interject. I know
No, 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 you're
Adam was
good.
going
I
down a
think
path here,
I
so
think this is we're trending in the same direction, Sam. So Chris, for the folks who are listening who maybe don't know, let's start way at the beginning. Like, I'm a beverage brand. I think I need a co-packer. I don't really know what it is. Start there. Like, what is within the framework of Red Boot? Like, what are you? More importantly, what are you not? What do you offer? That kind of thing.
I get so confused, by the way, because there's distillers and co-packers, and distillers do co-packing. Or I'm like, this is going to be a good podcast for me because I need to get educated on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're just starting a beverage brand, let's go before a co-packer is even a thought. And Adam, I'm gonna give you a little praise here too. If you're looking to start a beverage brand, there are a few things to keep in mind. One, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not an easy industry. It's certainly not a get rich quick scheme, and you've got maybe a 20% chance of survival.
Wait a minute. Do you need to sell 100 pods in month one in one market plus 100 cases? You show up, they don't even know you, but hey, I just hired you. You need to go get that done. No support. Just go out there and just do it.
Yeah, that it's nothing happens for you. If you're not really familiar with the beverage industry and you want to start a beverage, I think the first thing you do is find yourself an Adam Smith to help you along the way. It's highly important. It's almost impossible to make it without any help. And just a quick reminder to all of the beverage entrepreneurs out there that are looking to be the next Celsius. Celsius started in 2004. And guess what? When they started, they hired help as well. So Adam and I have a pretty good idea of who that is and how they got started. But it's not an overnight thing. You need to have a lot of access to funds, whatever that looks like, whether it's investors or funding from a business. If you're looking to cash out your 401k that has $200,000 in it, don't get into the beverage industry. You're doomed. You so
Say
you
that
get
again.
what was
Say
that?
that and repeat that. Have you have $200,000? Say that one more time. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah. Really, I've seen it. Unfortunately, if you're cashing out your 401k that has $200,000 in it, and you want to use that to start a beverage, don't don't do that. Find something else to invest in. It's not going to work. So that's number one. So now you've got access to money. You've got somebody like Adam on your team, and where do you go from there? So Adam would hone in on the formula first, right? So let's build a liquid that is everything you dreamed of. Flavor companies are incredible with their capabilities. They could make my sock taste good if they wanted to, but you have your formula, and now it's maybe time to start finding a co-packer. So there's a lot to consider there. I would say do your homework. Have somebody like Adam help you, somebody that knows the industry really well. I get a lot of AI messages every day. A lot of inquiries come in, and it's hey, I'm starting a retort protein coffee that I'm thinking is going to be life changing. If they would have looked, they'd see that we don't offer that capabilities. Do your homework, and make sure that you're putting your best foot forward when you're looking for a co-packer. There's a lot of them out there. There's somebody that's going to be able to help you one way or the other, and just make sure that it's within the guidelines of what you're looking to accomplish.
So $200,000 doesn't get you over the finish line.
You know what? I hate to say it. No, even with another zero at the end of it, you're still maybe not quite raising enough capital. And it's, you can make a beverage. You can get a formula that tastes incredible. You can put it in a can or a bottle or whatever you're dreaming of, and you can launch that product. That's the easy part. The hard part is what we don't do, right? As a co-packer. So the marketing and the sales aspect is really tough. So there's also some great people out in the world that can help you with that too.
What does it take to get started?
Well, a lot of grit to begin with. And I think it's easy to come up with a liquid that tastes good. I think what we're seeing now, trend wise, is if you're looking for a non alcoholic beverage, People seem to like some kind of a function to it. It's something that doesn't seem like it's going away. I myself in the morning start my day with I'm not getting paid for this, everyday dose, my mushroom coffee. I love it. It's not just about a
Maybe I
regular
need to
cup of
give
coffee.
that to Pumpkin. Maybe the mushroom coffee will help him recover from the chocolate overdose.
Perfect. Yeah, adaptogens, right? Yeah, they go where they're needed. So I think we're seeing a lot of that stuff. So really build a vision board. Your marketing strategy is so incredibly important. You need to hone into who you're selling this beverage to, right? And cater to that audience as well as you can. Raise as much money as you can. Hire all the best help that you can. It's out there. You just got to find it. And that'll certainly give you a better chance. As far as your manufacturer goes, find someone that can grow with you, and sometimes they can't. You might have to move on. Same thing with distributors as you start to grow. If you start with one and they're not working out, move to another. On that note, distributors are great. They're not going to be your sales team though. You still do need one of those, and that's a big deal.
Well, I'm gonna let's stick on that point for a minute. So I was with one of my clients, and my client proceeded to tell me and another guy that he works with on the team. He said, "My distributor's done nothing for me." I stopped him and I said, "That's BS. They do a lot for you. They take the product in their warehouse. They take that product out of the warehouse and they deliver it to the store. And those reps go out there and they initiate orders." Said, "Actually, you're not a unique case. You've actually worked the market and you're actually opening up doors." He said, "Yeah, but they haven't done it. I've done it. That's the toll you have to pay to get over the bridge
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day,
You're
to
exactly
get
right.
them to pay attention." So if you're a good partner, I said, "Jeff, you're a good partner." Most people get distribution and disappear. They think, "I'm in distribution." Well, guess what happens? You're on 365 days later, you're on the dead and slow moving inventory list. You're getting discontinued.
And so,
Because if you're not going to go work the market with your distributor, good luck.
hmm
Sorry.
no, that's perfect, Sam. That's exactly the way to look at it, and that's part of that grit that I was talking about before. You really need to grind, and the product doesn't sell itself. Once you get a distributor, that's not the end of the line. You really need to get out there and start knocking on doors.
Yeah, we got
So I
some
want to
questions coming in, Adam. You want to grab the questions out of the thing?
absolutely yes,
I'm
we
gonna
got
wait.
several comments, and then I want to get to the one that Kogs brought up, but. Gary saying it's a marathon, not a sprint. The cost of entries is a drop in the bucket. He tells brands to be prepared for at least a decade of work, for sure.
20 years on Tito's, by the way. They think Tito's was just an overnight success.
Right? Kogs called out, get on the plane to drive and see faces, 500,000 to enter the race, and then another 1 to 2 million to properly execute. And then I'll get into a couple questions from Kogs. So I
Coach,
think
why don't you just dial in and just join us? It's the same link.
Come on in.
right. So the first one, Chris, I think is a little bit easier. Is what's the fastest to market brand you've seen? Any brands you want to highlight that moved at kind of warp speed successfully? And then the other question is, walk us through like Red Boot specifically. What do you guys do? Types of products, types of packaging, what do you supply? What do you not supply? What do you expect brand owners to have when they get there? All that kind of stuff.
Hmm
By the way, the measuring stick always becomes the product that 1 out of 1 million that went in 2 years and sold it for $1 billion. And everybody thinks, well, that's what my expectation is of you,
Yeah.
is we're gonna build it, scale it, and sell it in 2 to 3 years. So I'm like, that is so unrealistic.
Yeah,
And
it
sorry.
really is. Sam, you did a piece which was really nice a couple of months ago on a brand that's wildly popular in the Midwest called Carbless. So to answer one of
Yes.
those fastest to market questions, they've made a big dent in a big hurry. And I think what you said about their growth being, an inch wide and a mile deep, it should be in a book somewhere. Maybe it is. But
I need to introduce you to Adam Corner. He will take you through masterclass how to do it.
exactly. Yeah. So that's a brand that resonates with me when I hear that question. And again, it still wasn't overnight. They've been around for a number of years, but to be so successful in that amount of time is rare. And like I said, there should be a book.
But
Master.
he laser focused, one community at a time, one city at a time, one state at a time. And I just have to tell the story. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
gotta
go
say
ahead,
it.
please.
So Nico, Copa Tequila Cocktails. Nico invites me out to MBWA, right? So Nico opened up in Jersey. Nico will do about 7,000 cases this year on his product, 150 accounts, right? But he's like, I got to go open up more distribution. I got to find Florida because when winter hits, people stop buying RTDs. So I'm like, Nico, you got to go meet Adam. I've done some business with him. So we go meet Adam and his wife and Adam's team. They have a huge, you're probably there, huge booth, bigger than life. I think they're in like 19 or 20 markets now, just absolutely crushing it. So Adam took the time to talk to Nico. And Adam said, Nico, how many accounts are you in? Nico goes, 150. Adam goes, what's the total opportunity in the marketplace? Adam goes, 1,000. So Adam stepped back and said, why are you here? Because you haven't closed your opportunity in your own market. You have so much opportunity to build your brand. And sure, you can go open up Florida, but what's going to happen is you're going to send that truck down to Florida. What are you going to do next year? Because you're not working the market. He goes, every account that you go in, you see some type of carbless point of sale, you see some type of carbless drink. We're activated in those accounts. And I actually believe that's one of the reasons they've been successful. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Absolutely. You almost need to treat every state like its own new business, right? So if you measure success by collecting states as like a merit badge, you're going to have a tough time. Now you might be producing 30 to 50,000 cases per year and you're in 40 states. Well, that's 40 states where you need to have a marketing spend, and now you're shipping LTL all over the country, and freight is such a killer of any CPG business, not just beverage.
Well, operationally, you both come from a bev source. If you think about what it takes to make a product, I was part of another product Adam knows about, a craft beer NA product made in Minneapolis, and we were in the first brands other than the big guys to have an NA product that actually resonated with consumers. They were nationwide with Total, nationwide with Bevmo. They couldn't fill the orders because they didn't have the money to make the product to fill the orders. So guess what happened? They got discontinued. They went to go play in the ocean, but they weren't prepared to play in the ocean.
Exactly. Yeah. Treat each state like it's opening a new business. You need to be there for the launch. You need to be hitting the streets, like we said before. Getting that distributor is not the end of the road for you. You still that's where the work starts. So yeah, you really need to treat each state like its own. I didn't want to ignore the question on Red Boot Beverage, of course. I'll give you our little rundown here. So Red Boot Beverage has been around for about 7-8 years now. Started as Red Boot Distillery. Our CEO.
So you are wait a minute. So you are a distillery that does co-packing. They're both the same.
This goes back to right away at the beginning there, Sam. Yeah. So our CEO Stuart Oxer, great guy. He got his background in the automotive industry as a finance guy. So he started Red Boot Beverage, and the idea at first was to have his own brands. So he bottled some vodkas and some whiskeys, things like that, and very quickly realized that much like what we've been talking about already, starting a brand is hard, right? And he really liked the engineering side. But when it comes to getting the product out there and doing the marketing spends and things like that, he very quickly realized that co-packing would be a much better venture for him. So he pretty quickly pivoted and started getting into co-packing for other brands, sold off the brands that he had made. And COVID hit, and that's right around the time where Adam and I were at BevSource, and what we saw in COVID was a massive, massive boom in the alcoholic beverage industry as a whole. So he wanted to take advantage of that, bought some small canning lines at that time, and started co-packing cans. Wound up, there's 2 little batch pasteurizers and I think 40 can per minute line. Pretty small operation. He got lucky with a couple of the brands that he brought in that have grown pretty rapidly, and brought on Jim Coor, who worked with Adam and I at BevSource. He is a absolute manufacturing guru. We're lucky to have him. He joined the team, and since then has been instrumental in the growth of our company. So then we graduated to a 300 can per minute line with a rotary filler and a tunnel pasteurizer, built out some space, and we've now recently, all right, we've got a bigger
All
party.
right, so this is I love it. He took the bait and he's here, but keep on going, Chris,
Yeah.
and then we can give meet Robert, meet Chris, meet Robert. He
Nice
goes
to
by
meet you, Robert.
Cogs.
Yeah.
Casa Good Sold is his nickname.
Perfect.
But you pronounce it Cogs. Sam's still working on that. It says cogs.
It's
I
my
actually
southern
had
accent from Minnesota.
I'm seeing your hat there. I had a melting forest at BevNet last week, and it was awesome. I was just talking about my mushroom coffee in the morning.
I heard that.
Yeah, big fan. So
Did you meet Dave Martin out there? Did you meet
And
you just
Sean?
talked to
no, I
and
didn't get a
Sean?
chance to meet them. They had the Cybertruck outside though. That thing was cool. That was awesome. Yeah, I'll just finish up on Red Boot real quick. We've had some customers that have seen a lot of really good success and reinvested back into the company. We just got a nice new variety pack machine. We got rid of our little 40 can per minute lines and replaced it just this last week with 150 can per
Forgive me,
minute line.
Chris, for those that aren't really zoned in, variety pack machine.
hmm
That
Yeah,
deserves some elaboration for the club stores and other promotional
yeah.
seasonal things that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. So variety packing is super important, especially if you're a brand looking to get into distribution. They might be a little apprehensive to take on a wide variety of SKUs, right? So that's why a lot of brands launch with a variety pack where you've got 4 flavors in an 8 pack. You see High Noon do it with some of the new flavors that they launch. They can get some good market data from there, and then after seeing some success, get into those, like a single SKU 4 pack, and then you're gonna have an easier time getting into distribution once you show a little bit of success. So yeah, appreciate that. That's a great
Let's
call
chime
out.
in real quick before we get Robert going. Yeah, Adam, you want to take the questions coming in? I just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. We got a lot of
Yeah.
good activity out
No,
there.
you're good. So Gary's had a couple more comments. Founders and leaders need to know what they don't know and surround themselves with people who do. Couldn't agree more. He also said he's got to jump. So Gary, thank you for joining us. Adam Leha, who he and I have connected over the last few weeks, said, love this combo. So many founders just don't understand what it takes. And then Andrew Nelson just said, great discussion. Thank you for this, guys. So appreciate the comments. I think the Cogs is probably going to touch on this too. Is my big question before we end is the distinction between somebody that's doing co-packing full time and somebody that's maybe, you know, a brewery, a distillery, or has their own brand, maybe as Stu once did, and that is their main focus, and they're doing co-packing on the side. And hearing from Chris the difference in experience and the level of maybe focus and care that you get there. But before we get there, we'll get to that in a second. It's good to see you, Cogs. I wanna let you pick Chris's brain.
Well, that point you just made right there, Adam, Chris also nailed it pretty good with do your research. There's co-packers like those questions I asked, cans, bottles, palletization, and then go up to
That
the next
stuff is
level.
free, right? That doesn't. I mean, it's not. It's
Mhm.
pretty easy, right? That's pretty minimal cost.
What, the palletization at the
Yeah,
end? No, it's
I'm
not.
just
It's
joking. I'm
another
being facetious.
$500,000 machine that Chris has to buy.
I'm being facetious. Like if
I
you look at
know,
a can,
Sam, I know.
It's
Anyway,
funny.
so then there's this crazy word that scares everybody, but we're seeing it without even knowing it. It's called aseptic packaging, aseptic co-packing. And you see Chris's nod. This is where I throw the ball over to Chris. Aseptic.
Yeah, I think it's not something that we do at Red Boot or specialize in, but aseptic is something that I think is growing in popularity. So I think it's important to touch on. It's in more of a sustainable, natural type product world that we're seeing. I think it's growing in popularity like crazy, and I think we're going to see a lot more of it out there. We're going to see a lot. Tetra Pak is a great company that
That was
specializes
my
in.
next comment, a little Tetra Pak, because people see it,
Mhm.
but it's a very important question about a co-packer's capabilities. That's got to be on the list.
I literally spoke to it. Actually, surprisingly, it wasn't a referral of yours, Chris. It was one that came from. You ever meet a guy named Greg Barr? Who used to work at Sensient?
I believe I did. Yeah.
Kind of a taller dude. So Greg's now with a company called Sternmade, and he sent me a referral the other day for a woman who again, for the sake of her idea remaining hers, I'll leave the details out. But she was walking me through it, and she goes, "Well, hey, what about this? What about that? What about Tetra Pak?" And I was like, let's take a big step back. I said, do you have any idea what the pH of your product is? She goes, no. And I was like, let's start there. Let's start there before we figure out what we can put it in and who can package it. Because, and this is me speaking on things that Chris and I do all the time. Like, and Sam and Cogs, I know you guys live the other end of this, but we talk to so many people who as Chris said, either have an AI bot reach out or they reach out on their own just because they don't know what the buzzwords are or what the specifics are, and they'll go, well, hey, you're a big production facility. I see you have a footprint. I see you have a website. I see you are legitimate. Surely you can do whatever package I need. You can do whatever process I need. Make my product. Food science, quite simply, isn't that easy.
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
was
so
looking
there's
for a post, Adam. Sorry to interrupt, but somebody posted earlier. I can't see it. Flavor House, formulator, warehousing, FDA approved food and beverage warehousing. Oops. Oh, what? They're not FDA approved for food and beverage? Okay. You can't check that box. You're not going into Chris's facility if you don't have all those boxes checked. And that post was really informative. It could be another 20 minutes of Chris downloading it to us, some great intelligence on 35 variables at all 7 to 8 steps to get there.
So it's really involved doing this stuff.
Well, yeah, and beyond that, manufacturing of any kind, it's difficult to bring in new products. I probably get maybe 10 inquiries a day sometimes, phone calls and, through the website and referrals. And yeah, Adam loves that because there's a lot of them that need his help. So it's hard to bring in a new product. And I'll take my sales hat off for a little bit and be more operations minded. When you're running, let's just say this product here, it's in a 12-ounce sleek can. It's a lemonade. There's really nothing functional about it. It's just a lemonade.
Well, what is that brand?
Bee Squeeze, actually, and this is we own the brand at Red Boot. But
you looking for an opportunity in Canada?
I don't want to be.
I know people in Michigan that launched a glass bottle brand that says Bees. Her name is Bee.
This
Really?
is it, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so I know the two founders, and go ahead and I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, they're great.
It's a small world.
Well, let me just do a timeout right now and let people know the power of serendipity.
It's funny.
The young man and his wife Bee, they're in the real estate business, and they decided to make some lemonade to pass out at their real estate site launch. And people loved it. And now Bee Squeeze. I have one in the fridge at the apartment in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Bee and her husband, as Chris knows, are gems. They are souls that you can trust. They are so wholesome. I'll shut up now. And they're in cans.
Yes. And what a small world to have this uncovered right here. Eli actually has texted me since I've been on this call. He's Bee's husband. He's become
I know. Tell Eli that Robert from Toronto.
I think
for real. He'll say, wow, who do you think the moron is that brought a pallet in to try to get it into the Toronto market?
I think you just did right there. I think you might
it was
be
about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we brought Bee Squeeze in.
I love it. I love it. What a small world. So Eli actually is really, really close to Red Boot Beverage. His dad was one of our early investors in Red Boot, and he is now a strategic advisor, especially on the ops side of things. So he and I, at a high level, work incredibly close together. There's barely a day that goes by where we don't speak, and he's an awesome guy. We've developed a really nice friendship over the years. So hey Eli, I know you're listening.
Eli's watching? Is Eli watching right now?
I think he might be. Yeah, he's been texting me the whole
he'll
time.
Definitely get some snippets, because if we know Sam, he'll make sure that Eli gets this love.
Yeah.
Let me give you Eli, okay? He's in LaPerry. He's dealing with all of the politics of all the distributors, price points, Carmela, D&B, LaPerry, all this stuff. And he's handling it like a seasoned real estate developer, owner, dealing with all of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a great moment for Eli. Hey, Eli, how things going? How's the doors and this and that? I got 280 stores in Texas. I got to get like 20 pallets made. What? How does, you got to hand it to Eli and Bee.
Yeah.
In terms of, so give us the report on Bee Squeeze. How many doors are they at right now?
Yeah. So we're not in a ton of doors. We are started in the Michigan area. So a little background. Obviously, Bee and Eli are from the Michigan area.
Southeast Michigan, we call it.
Yes. Yep. Grosse Pointe Farms, I believe, is where they live. Eli and Bee, serial entrepreneurs, very successful. Their family, it's been generation to generation, and they get their hands on a lot of real estate, as you alluded to. As far as doors go, this product is in Sam's Club, in the cafe area. We've got
those are home runs right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're in Sam's Club. That's I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's a nice piece of business for us.
I told you, Eli blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing Sam's Club Texas, and like we got a broker who's going to set up some stuff in California. We might do Florida. I'm like, I'm on my 12th year, guys,
Mhm.
of like watching brands. Like you were saying, the 20 years for Celsius. Anyway, that blows me away.
It's real. Yeah, it's a very real thing. Yeah, we've got relationships with Carmela and LaPerry, and they do a really great job in the Midwest for us. And we do have, I can't say quite yet, but we're waiting on a business award from a rather large national retailer. So, and that would be for the canned product here. That is something that is recently developed, and we're hoping for a big win there.
We
So
need to make this. We have to make that. We have these announcements that we don't know about, but then they come out like a week later.
I'll follow up.
Jay Williams, for instance, got into Walmart and he was talking. You know, you don't have to say who it is, but he got into Walmart in this big like announcement for.
What do you
Wait,
mean?
we
Don't
gotta
say
we gotta
it.
switch up our timing,
Sam,
Sam.
whoa. Sam, Jay can say it. No one else can. I cannot tell you where Melting Forest is locked in for January. That is Dave and Sean's job. And until it's on the shelf. But you know what Jay can do? He's the owner. Him and Eddie have been working their ass off for more than a few minutes and keeping it under wraps. But if you're the owner of the brand, it's free reign. You know what I mean? And all the power to Jay. So I sort of interrupt, but we're allowed to say it because Jay did.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's amazing. Earlier this year, Eli sold the business to Stewart. So now it is a Red Boot owned product with, we still get Eli alongside of that. So that's great. Really get to work closely.
Whoa. Hey, I don't know, Kara. It doesn't have to be two Bill. You just glossed. Eli exited?
Oh,
So
he's
yeah,
involved, but he sold the brand.
Still, though, he sold the brand. That's an exit, technically.
Yep. He did
Eli.
exit. Yeah. And but he still gets to be along for the ride with us as a strategic consultant. So he's just such a great guy. I can't say enough good things about him.
And this is a quick turn. So how long have they been? They did this in a couple of years. They tested it, built it, scaled it, and sold it in 2 years.
Well, no,
Holy-
I'd say closer to about 5 now, about where they're at. And it started in the glass bottles. Only this year did we go into a can, and we're kind of going all in. And I'm just super excited about this brand. It was really made with Target in mind, and Trader Joe's, things like that. Kind of that playful
Okay, you see
design
the
element.
lavender there? Chris, just reel off their SKU list. They have a very creative
Yeah.
combination of
The
flavors.
use of botanicals. So there's of course just a original lemonade flavor. We've got a hibiscus lemonade, a lavender lemonade, pink
That's the best.
rose is an interesting one, and then what's the one I'm forgetting about? Basil. Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you a question on this. How many brands are you actually running through your co-packer? And then how many brands do you own
Mhm.
as a distiller? And it sounds like you're in the functional space, distilling space, and co-packing space. Does
Yep.
that kind of sum it up?
Yeah, we don't do any distilling any longer, so we can do some spirits bottling, with G&S, things like that. The bottling side of our business is great. We have some really phenomenal customers that are exhibiting a lot of growth. However, where we're investing our money is in canning. We have 1,000 can per minute line coming on. It's in the start of Q2, so we'll have 150, a 300, and a 1,000.
So you did a massive pivot. I mean, from being a distiller to you're just straight up co-packing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as brands, they're both from Eli. So there's 2 brands. There's Bee Squeeze, and there's another lemonade called Beach Time, which is a little bit more of a margin play, 16 ounce, really colorful cans, something that we can sell. We're hoping to do kind of pallet drop type sales with, and it's just kind of fun. So Stuart got convinced by Eli to get back into the brand game here, and now we're talking about marketing spend and how we're gonna handle this big retailer. Knock on wood, if and when we hear news, it could be any day now. We're expecting in business.
Please come back and share with us, and we can get our
You're
timing
right.
down. Right?
We gotta start timing these podcasts better, Sam, so that we can announce the news first here, as opposed to talking to people like 3 days before they can announce it.
Or maybe
right?
you're the good luck charm for all of these
You're right.
brands that are
Yeah,
getting out there. Just
that's
the
it.
springboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chris, I wanna add a comment to something you said, and by all means, for all of you, like feel free to add to this as well. But whether it's folks we've talked to here on the show or folks like I'll use B Squeeze as an example. The exit and whatever that looks like, right? But like the partnership, the growth, whatever you want to call it, of that brand in, let's call it 5 years for the sake of keeping the story simple, right? We're not talking about a brand that was nationwide. We're not talking about a brand that sold for $1 gajillion to Pepsi, right? But we're talking about something that still, by any average Joe definition, is a very successful business dealing, right? The reason I call that out is because we talk to the royal we, all of us, right? And everybody listening, talk to so many brands who are like, oh, I've got to be in 10 states in 2 years. I've got to be at this level. I've got to have, all the functional claims under the sun. No, you need to keep it fucking simple. You can dominate one state and have somebody stroke you a check to be involved in your brand. That can happen, but you're overcomplicating the shit out of it, right? Like,
that's exactly right.
The B Squeeze, I think, is a phenomenal example of that a case study, if you will, of like, no, truly, like, we're not being jackasses and saying keep it simple and just be thorough. It really does work, right?
And I'll accent that, Adam. I'm pretty big on the people factor. That's part of like the 9 planets you need in alignment. And you got to see the face. You got to have trust with your back turned. And again, Eli and B pretty much sensed their character as I laid eyes on them standing behind the table at the LaPerry show like 4 years ago. And it's unbelievable, that coincidence that you just brought up the can, and B Squeeze cans. Okay, great. And for me to come at you with that background and then you to top it off with the latest news about Eli and B. But I want to emphasize that and go ahead, Eli, laugh your head off because you definitely didn't expect this today. But we have 100 brands we can talk about, but Eli's the topic right now. So him and B deserve the homage that it starts with the people. The actual people. I'll segue that over to a different topic, completely different purpose to make use of my little minute interjection here and there and make 2 points. There's a new viewer with us called Josh Arrington. Josh is making a few
Hello, Josh. I see you out there.
Yeah, and Josh is not going to say it, but I will. Josh has experience with one of the most unique business ventures that is still ongoing. So let me say what he has done, and so everyone knows how we can pick his brain in the future, while simultaneously cabling it and illustrating another point. Josh had intensive inside experience with getting the Poppy brand step by step by step by step. What Josh has incredible experience with is, forgive my insinuation of doubt, a social media engineered engagement bot brand. We won't know for 5 more years if Poppy has the same strength as Zevia and other tenants on shelf space in aisles of all the majors without a Rohan Oza social media explosion deployment plan. Ollie Poppy, I call them, it's one word now. And homage to the shareholders, maximize shareholder value. But the question is, I would put more stock in the B Squeeze brand doing this and then a little bit of this. I'm talking about the graph, the growth curve. Backing it up there, homage to Josh, because Josh went through a lot of patience and perseverance going through that summer camp cult experience with Poppy. And I say that with 100% personal experience accuracy.
Yeah, he's
So
brilliant.
welcome, Josh. I just want everyone to know.
I had a chance to break bread with Joshua and talk to him last week, or this week.
And that's great how this podcast world does this type of stuff. But with 10 minutes left, Chris, you better take some more of the floor time because, there's so much co-packing intelligence that everybody can benefit from.
Well, actually, I think you brought up a really phenomenal point. Just what has naturally happened on this call goes to show you what the beverage industry is like and what it's all about. We're all connected. If you're new coming into this industry, you might think that this is a monstrous industry. It's not. We're all way more connected than you could possibly imagine. As a matter of fact, I think as a co-packer, some of my best referral sources are other co-packers. so vital for all of us to stay connected, even if we're not doing business with one another, even if we're competing against one another, because there's always something that you do that they don't, or vice versa, or they're on the East Coast, I'm in the Midwest. Instead of just saying no to people, I like to refer them somewhere just simply because it's the right thing to do. It's a small industry and you never know what kind of good stuff could come back to you. So, got to
Mm-hmm.
feed that karma a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Percent couldn't say it better. Adam, you want to take us home with the key question?
Absolutely. So, Chris, I know you've heard us ask this before, so I'll keep it brief. What's the difference between success and failure?
The difference between success and failure, I think so many things and so few things at the same time, right? It's such a convoluted question. Success is measured differently by different people, right? So what is your measure of success first? Is it creating a beverage? Are you successful in doing that? Absolutely. If your measure of success is building a brand and selling it for $1 billion, you're probably going to be closer to failure sooner than you think. So really, it all depends on how you measure success in my world. You as a person, as an employee, as a brand, um, it's so important to keep an eye on, I think. Not a very direct answer, but that's what I think.
So
No, I
what?
think
So what?
well, I was going to say, everybody's on this call, and a lot of you listening have heard me say this before. I think, I'm a big fan of the idea that clarity is kindness, and the devil's in the details. And so, we've gotten a lot of different answers to that question, but to distill down what you're saying, the difference between success and failure in some regards, specificity, right? Like if you're not, if everything is being painted in broad strokes, you're probably going to fall more on the failure side than you'd like to. But if you can hone in on exactly very explicitly what success looks like, I think you're probably a little more likely to find it.
Yeah, I mean, think about when you die. If I got hit by a truck tomorrow, because the sad truth is we're all gonna die, right? How do you want to be remembered? And if I'm remembered, this is just for me personally. This isn't Red Boot or a brand or anything like that. But if I'm personally remembered by people in this industry, friends, as somebody who's a good guy that does the right thing, that was upfront and honest, and that's how I'm positively known around the world or the beverage community, that's success to me.
That's your dash goal.
Exactly.
You know what a dash goal is?
Yeah, live the dash. Yeah, at the end, that's
Yes,
that's
the
what it's
day
all
you were
about.
born versus the day you died. What's in between that? And you just said it. Your dash goal. That's perfect.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
Can I take a minute?
of course.
Her name is Juliana. She started a sparkling water called Balloon. Like I say to everybody I meet for the first time, when did you escape from the mental asylum? You really want to go into beverage and go against Coke, Pepsi, La Croix, San Pellegrino? You really want to do that? Well, she said, yeah. Anyway, so she told me she had 5 stores. I called up Carmine and Vicky. 10 minutes later, she had 7 stores and 2 demos scheduled. She was at the CHFA, and that's the Canada Health Food Association show, Expo East Canada, otherwise known as. And she was in the incubator booth. I made sure that she got in the photo roll for Grocery Business Magazine. And I have a good friend who runs a distribution company. It's called Pacific Candy Wholesale. It's really focused on the exotic drinks and sodas that you basically see in culture shops, which are bong and rolling paper shops, okay? Like crazy Japanese Fantas and stuff like that. So Ken and I are very close. We're also baseball ticket buddies, Blue Jay addicts. And every time I go to the game with him, I bitch at him. I actually have a picture of me doing it about putting products in the store, in his online store. His response is always, they only like Mountain Dew. Okay, well, we won't know unless we put it on the shelf. So I got a little order delivered up to Pacific Candy Wholesale on Monday. Juliana received the information last night that it's sold out. Now, that order was 10 cases, 24 count. So a very small victory. But when she went from 5 to 7 stores, that's the type of win, Sam, that you have taught all of us you have to have. Like the vibe that you and Adam have been giving out since day zero is Juliana, way to go. So on Monday, she's losing her shit this weekend because instead of the 15, 20 stores she has in Ontario, Toronto area, Ken's going to tell her Quebec, Alberta, Vancouver, we don't know. But that type of victory, no matter how small it is as important to her as Jay getting into a
And
500.
Jay started the same way, man. It's one account at a time. It's one bar store at a time, one beverage director, one bartender, one packaged liquor store, one grocery store. We're the tortoises of the industry, man.
Here's the point. Sorry for taking 4 minutes.
It's fine.
Thank you, Robert. Oh, whoa, Juliana. Thank you. Being associated with you makes me look better. I am doing this for both of us. So let's just be brutally honest about that. And that's so important. That comes from these two guys, Chris, and a few other characters that are all sort of interconnected in this little web that I'm so glad to have experienced with my podcast route every week.
Amazing.
Sorry to take 4 minutes.
No, that was
beautifully said.
Incredibly well said. Yeah, thank you.
Sam, you want to take us through closing comments?
Yeah. So first of all, Chris, it was great to meet you.
Likewise.
You know about my situation this week, so thank you. And Adam and Robert knows about it too. So thanks for your support. It's been a tough week. Getting a little emotional. My dog is okay. My dog
Sam,
is okay.
read my post, Sam.
And I saved your dog from my post.
Yeah, let everyone know. Sam posted problem last night. I heard wrestling
last night about I was at the ER last night at midnight. He spent the night there and he's recovering. Anyway, I woke up Robert to his dog sniffing out a candy bar, chocolate candy bar. He was able to stop him from eating that.
because of you.
It's the way the world works, right? People find us here, and that's probably I guess why Adam and I do what we do is actually bring information to people. It ties to the dog is if people can learn something new here, and I've learned something really valuable here. All kidding aside is I always knew a distiller could become a co-packer. I've talked to Omar at Surly and they had to pivot to do some things because of the slowdown in craft beer. But it's just really interesting to hear your journey and also what it takes actually to build a brand. And the thing that resonated with me is $200,000 comment. If you're going to cash in your K for $200,000, don't do it. You got to be more well-financed to actually do this business. And that's what I'm left with. And forever a friend, you're an alumni on the show. So thank you. So Adam, I'll turn it over to you, or actually you'll close it. And then Cogs, you want to have any closing comments? I guess you did already. Oh, there's the dog you rescued.
Dasher. Say hi, Dasher.
There you go.
Buddy.
Dasher, I'm glad you're okay. And then Chris, any closing comments for you?
No, not really. I just really appreciate you guys doing what you do. If there's one big takeaway here, it's how important it is that we all stay connected. We're all friends, whether we're doing business with one another or not. So really, that's what it's all about for me. So thank you for keeping everybody connected and spreading the good word of all these different brands and beverage businesses out there.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you definitely at WSWA.
You got it.
We'll be there together. We talked about that earlier. And then Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep the kumbaya going. I mean, it's exactly that. You know, talk to a lot of, brand owners or people that want to get into food science or whatever. And I was just as guilty of it 8 years ago on my own run. It feels like this big scary world, and then you realize like you're gonna see the same 100 people over and over and over again, and then you'll meet another 10, and then it'll be the same 110 over and over and over again, and you'll be super glad you do, but it's gonna feel real small.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we all know one another in this industry, at least the people that are worth their weight in gold. I can tell you that. So, coming into our communities, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Rocks with our friend Ryan Hellman. I think you mentioned him earlier, but that's a community that he has built with a lot of this information. So I want to definitely call him out. He's a sponsor of the show. I think you called him out, but I'll call him out again. But yeah, thank you all so much. Thanks everybody for joining us this Saturday. You can find us on Apple iTunes as well as Spotify. And then I've been streaming occasionally, Chris, how to find redbootbeverage.com that people can see. And then how they get in contact with you.
Yeah,
People
so
wanna
I'll just throw my LinkedIn is on there. You can find me through that. I stay pretty active on that. My email address is C as in Chris, my last name Slanga at redbootbeverage.com. Feel free to drop a line, and whether it's just an opportunity or you want to connect and share some war stories in the industry here, I'm happy to do it.
And get ready to be blown away, Chris, because Sam is going to be doing a little edit of this. And I've got a social media team that, with Sam's copyright approval, is going to be going out in the new year. And thank you, Sam, for that. But you get ready, Chris, because there's going to be a really good thing coming soon from Sam.
I'm ready for it. Amazing.
That's great. We're excited, and you're forever alumni. I'd ask all y'all to stay on the line. Thanks everybody for joining us this Saturday, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
So it often